All right, guys, I'm going to go ahead and get started here. I want to start a little early. I was able to kind of get some of these charts done ahead of time. If I'm not, feeling good as we go on, I'll just finish this up and post the video tomorrow. I'm getting a little tired, but I think I can get through it a little bit. I'm recovering, if you haven't heard, from some emergency surgery that needed to happen at a medical emergency last week, and I've recovered and I'm doing okay. I'm at home now, just kind of resting. And the worst obviously is behind me, but I'm still just, it still takes a lot of your energy away. So I'll just do what I can tonight, but I wanted to kind of just talk to the community and just see what's going on, kind of questions everyone has on their mind, and just this will help me kind of focus on something different. So I kind of will just start from the top, and again, I appreciate all the well wishes everyone's given me. I really appreciate that and the support as I got through this situation. So first question is Solana and UMAC. So as you know, the market obviously is pulling back in a bigger correction now against the April cycle. I've talked to you about it before. Some stocks have already corrected the April cycle and have ended, and they're correcting a different cycle. Some, are actually still haven't even started their correction of the April cycle yet. So it's a very mixed market, which makes it super choppy. The market's out of sync. And I believe it's because of the yen and the dollar index kind of moving in opposite directions, as well as the AI bid continuing to be hit hard, as you saw with Meta earnings, and you saw with Microsoft. So you have this mixed message, choppiness. The market underneath the hood is very confused, although this looks very simple and very elegant, right? A nice 5-wave move with a big pullback that, theoretically the two could come, as far down as it wants to go. Here, it's just we just never know for sure when the correction will be over in the indexes. But I will tell you this, the indexes can't get down to these lower levels unless big cap tech corrects, which means AI has to give it up. And with Microsoft and Meta's earnings, I don't see how that can happen unless something goes wrong with AMD and NVIDIA's too far out. So something's going to have to go terribly wrong with AMD's earnings to create another wave lower in the market that will make people panic in the AI complex and panic sell out of that story. Without that, the market, just the mathematics behind the indices will not allow the market to get down here. They're too big. The weighting is too big in those stocks, the NVIDIAs, the Microsofts, the Metas, to allow the regular index to get down to these levels without their participation. It just can't happen. UNH can only take the Dow down so much. You know what I'm saying? So so if you believe that this is going to happen, you have to believe Microsoft, Meta, and NVIDIA are about to have a massive dump. And we just don't see that. Earnings was the reason. And in fact, Microsoft, the sentiment around that pop, when you look at it, what was going across the market was anger from the short trade, like revenge trading on the short side, basically going all in with their stack short on that earnings pump to smash it down. So I believe the shorts have gone all in on Microsoft in this AI out of frustration, anger, very emotional trading. And I see the emotion on posts on Twitter, on X, from these very professional traders about shorting it. That tells me they have nothing left to go, and if it starts to rally, you'll get a major squeeze again. So you need to have Microsoft continue to participate in the downside, and if you can't do that, the market really can't go to the lows that I think some people are suggesting, right? Microsoft will need to come all the way down here. So this was basically the shorts throwing their whole stack in with anger and emotion and violence, but we still couldn't break the low. We couldn't even close the gap. And I'm telling you, if this starts to rally again, they're going to get blown up. And it's going to be a 1-2, 1-2, 1-2. And there will be no big sell-off. The sell-off is already over before it started. So these are the things you need to watch: Microsoft, Nvidia, and you have to watch Meta. Those are the keys to the next leg of the sell-off, if the sell-off is going to happen, in my opinion. If the next leg. Now, we should get a counter trend rally. The next leg lower, those stocks need to participate. If they don't, we won't go lower. We'll just go higher from here. Maybe a lower low on Monday, and then that's all you got. Correction's over. We don't know. We don't know. That's why it's foolish to guess the top and bottoms, because we just don't know how the market will behave. We're not a fortune teller. Okay? The trend is clearly higher. So I'd rather just buy dips where you get a clear entry. And this isn't really a clear entry, unfortunately. A flat is the worst entry because the C leg can just continue to fall as far as it wants to go. But once it ends, then the correction could end, or it could create a connector and make another swing in a WXY. All right, let's go to our first question. Solana. So Solana's in a box, guys. You got to understand, crypto's pretty oversold on the shorter time frames. Is that truncated? I don't know. Probably not yet. Maybe it is. Too early to tell. But this is the box for Bitcoin, and Solana is also in a box. Right? I'm not telling you to buy it. Do what's best for you. I can be wrong. The alternative count on Solana is this is a corrective wave, an ABC, and a W, X, Y. And then that means Solana goes to 67.88. And of course, Bitcoin makes the big flat A, B, C. Crash. Massive crash in crypto. What would be the sign that that's going to happen? Well, we need to break 145. That would be a good start, and see accelerated momentum to the downside. And we are, seeing that, but on the 45, we're seeing it slow. So we're seeing a wave 5 get born here. So we are seeing a turn. So it does look like to me this sequence is coming to an end, and it should result in a bounce soon. And then could it go lower? It could, but it doesn't have to, and it can just keep going higher. Right? This target's now irrelevant. It would now take us to new all-time highs. So my guess is this is due a bounce. And if it's due a bounce, then SOLT is also due a bounce, right? It's also due one. And if SOLT is due a bounce, right, we would get Y. So, and then what SOLT did was double correct it off of this connector. And the ideal entry on that would be at 1537, but it can easily truncate. And again, I always trade the coin, not this chart. I just buy, if I was going to trade the leverage fund, I just buy it when it's in the box. So if Solana is in the box, like it is right now, if I can go to it here, you would buy it. You would just buy it because they're not, they're one in the same. Now, what this also means is Solana could go a little deeper, right? A little deeper. It's a lot. Now, you're never going to get the perfect entry. You're not that nimble, that good. I mean, you just have to some point stick your neck out and start buying it if you believe in this setup. 1, 2, 3, right? And for me, the subdivisions are there. Maybe one more push lower could do it. That'll be it. So that's where that is. Now UMAC is also correcting a bigger cycle. Showed this as a possible count 5 up, correcting this whole cycle. Nice big 3-wave pullback with a box at 815, 765. Look at all that support right there. I mean, do we really think it's going to go through? It's highly likely either it will wick through that and come back, or it's going to bounce there, right? At least a bounce. Now it can always go lower and do that, right? Because we're correcting this whole cycle. So you're playing, now that you're in a correction, you're playing this bounce. But it can also end. Unfortunately, I don't make the market. I can't control the future. I can't know for sure whether you're going to get 3 here or you're going to have to ride a double correction. So you're just going to have to manage that trade properly. But I think it's highly likely you're going to bounce here. Highly likely. Then after that, the market will decide for you. And if it double corrects, just stop out buying again. Simple as that. And you just fight. You fight it. The trend is 5 off the high. So we should get one more swing higher, at least, before I may lose interest trading it. But right now I'm interested in trading it still. United Health, I've warned you guys to stay away from this, and that warning turned out to be correct. And we need a 5th wave down. So the first thing we need to do is make sure, is this still a 5th wave or not? It is. Divergence, bullish divergence, bullish divergence. Now let's look within the 5 itself. As we can see, we don't have bullish divergence. So we're still in the 3 of 5. So you're going to need a bounce and another failure, more than likely. So you don't have it. So you're not at the low yet. The technical bottom could be at 225. The like at most elegant technical entry would be right at this cluster of support at 200. That's the most elegant, perfect bottom if all those conditions hold. We still have bullish divergence on the 4-hour, the daily, and on this shorter time frame when we look at it. If we don't, it's likely to go through this level. And if it goes through this level, then you're looking at a 1-2, 1-2, 3 of 3, and there's really no chart support of significance on this type of correction until you get to 100.07. So you're looking at a catastrophic drop. And that means there's something really wrong fundamentally that you don't know, but somebody else knows. Whether how smart you think you are, no matter how many insiders are buying it, something is broken, and they're getting while the getting's good, getting out while the getting's good. And you don't know, because we're not privy to what people that are moving this know. So watch that behavior. Very risky buy. I'll just say, I've seen many of these stocks collapse. This is how it happens. Everyone believes it's not true. They see insiders buy, and then they find out it was all true. The insiders were trying to mask the fraud or mask the mischievous activities through that, and it collapses, and that's the end. And this has happened in my lifetime with many companies, guys. Okay, this is nothing new. And UNH, as spectacular as it used to be, Enron was even more spectacular, and it collapsed in a similar way. So I'm just saying, I'm not saying it's another Enron, but I'm just saying that's the risk. But the reward is enormous, right? If it's the reward is enormous, right? Because you can get it at 200, a dividend paying stock that will likely V bottom over 600 and beyond. So, if you have money to risk it. But understand, if you think it's a sure bet, it is nothing but a sure. It's not a sure bet. And unfortunately, people were following a lot of bad influencers on X, making it a sure bet. I saw someone, I mortgaged my house for $100,000 to buy UNH. How is that looking now for him? Right? Because they were just believing the crap they're reading. They're just believing this crap. And again, we avoided this setup all from the beginning because we saw the 3-wave nature of this. And then we saw the 5. We're like, it's probably a flat. So we avoided buying any of this mess. And it turned out to be the right call. And honestly, I don't know if I'm even interested in buying it here. I don't know. I guess if we get down to 200, maybe what the hell, what the hell? I'll give, maybe I'll throw some money in the casino and see if I can get a bounce. But I want to see it needs more downside at least. CNC, I'm not familiar with it, but I did this chart real quick before our live stream. I had a nice spectacular collapse itself. 5 waves up here. Hold on one second, guys. Yeah, 5 waves up here, and we have an extended 5th wave. One thing you'll know about 5th waves is you usually lose the whole 5th wave. Can you Guys, someone on my chat say the live stream's working okay. I don't know if it just glitched out or something. It may be just my computer. Just put in the chat if it's working all right. But anyway, here you have 5 waves. So usually the 5th wave is completely lost. And that's what you saw here. And you are seeing it end. But it's coming deep in the box. Again, you have a lot of chart support here. So you would expect a turn to happen. But when I look at the count itself, you need some force, and you don't really have any unless they're just buried within the wave. And sometimes we see that in crash corrections. We just don't see the 4 like we would expect, and then it ends. So unless you can talk yourself into something like this, it's hard to say, is it done or not? I mean, it is in the box, but it's pretty deep in the box. We want to see 5 on the shorter time frames to know that impulse is done. You are seeing that. So maybe it is done. Maybe it's just a tight 4, something like that. But it's too hard to call to be that precise. I think you just have to start accumulating if you believe in it. If you believe in this, it meets all the conditions. You're hitting the wave 4. You have 5 waves up. You move back in 3. It meets all the conditions of a buy. I'm not sure why fundamentally it would be a buy here. It looks like it's tied to healthcare, Medicaid, government stuff. I'm not really sure that's the flavor of the day right now. I'm not sure why it would ever come out. So this could be a long drawn out, like 1, 2, right? This could be like dead money for a long time, like do something like this, right? And then collapse back down like that, do some, like it could do something really crazy. Like if we could go forward in 10 years and maybe it's like that. And then you get, so I don't know, like we don't know how it's going to come out of this, right? It could come out just like that. And then you buy here, you basically made no money for the next 10 years. There's no guarantee of a V bottom. That's the other thing. These corrections could end, but when you come off the low, it could take time, especially these big ones. Also, I always point out, on a grand supercycle correction, a stock can always go to 0. We saw that with Wolf, right? Semiconductor basically went to 0. People were trying to dip buy it all the way to 0. Some held all the way to 0 for God knows why, but people do because they're conditioned to hold stocks because they're supposed to always go up. So this can easily break our box at 1846 and go to 0 for some reason. So that's the risk. So anytime you're buying a grand supercycle correction, the stock can go to 0. The stock can go to 0. So there's a lot of risk buying this. There's risk of go to 0 risk. There's risk of time risk of having the correction end. But what you're hoping for is the V bottom. And there is always a chance, and if you get that, then huge money is made very quickly. And you can try to look at the personality of the prior third wave to see. And you can see as you came out of this correction, it didn't really V bottom. So it doesn't really have a personality of a V bottom on a 3. So that's my advice on that. But you do what's best for you. All right. MSTR made a higher high sequence. We've seen this before on many charts. BBAI was a good one. It always likes to do this, right? Because what happens? People buy this. They get so excited. They get so excited here and they buy. And you're like, why are you buying here? They see a breakout and they buy for some reason. And then they get trapped, they get jammed up and the market rug pulls them. I don't know why people do that, but they do that. It's human nature, I guess, to chase, to see the money in front of you. And then this. And so we're in a flat here. This should end soon enough. And then I do expect another swing higher to finish the higher high sequence. And then, there's a couple options on the higher time frame. Something like this. And then that. And again, that would be its grand super cycle crash. And then that would result in could be a go to 0 even. So just understand that. So but we have a higher high. The higher high here indicates to me we should continue with one more swing. Right? Now, could this be an impulse? Even if this is an impulse, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, which I think most people would label this as an impulse, a permeable account, right? Would label this as a 1, 2, 1, 2. It still means it's going higher. So if we come up here and we just blow through 700, well, then we'll come back and just update the label to 1, 2, 1, 2. All right. I don't think it's going to do that. I don't think Bitcoin has enough upside in this 4-year cycle to take MicroStrategy that high. But who knows? I don't think so. So that's why I think Bitcoin makes the 4-year cycle high, ends it, and then the 4-year cycle ends, and then MicroStrategy is the casualty of the 4-year cycle bear market. He loses all his Bitcoin. He loses it all. The whales take it from him, and that's the end of that. Maybe he recovers through it. Maybe it goes to zero. Who knows? Who cares? But I understand that this to me, it looks like it's a whipsaw. But my system doesn't really trade whipsaw setups that well. Now, you could wait. If it can come back and rally and take back out 459, then you could just buy the first pullback on that. Or, you know, you could try to buy it here at 335, set a stop at 299. But these are high-risk trades with, of course, high reward. So you can decide, do what's best for you. Coinbase double corrected in a crash correction. It's about to hit a box at 308. And that here you have a clear 5 waves up and 3 waves down now, right? We made a double correction, right? You had a connector here, right? 1, 2, 3. Sorry, right here. So you had a connector. So you had this double correction, but here, here we know where the connector is, right there. So that's all it is. So there's your box. So if you believe in this chart, you should buy it. Now, what could this count be on the higher time frame? Again, you have a 1, 2, a 1, 2, 1, 2. Now, it seems too bullish. That's a permeable count, right? Is that really the count? Well, we only have 3 up. Could it be a flat off of this peak? A, B, and a super crash, C? Well, let's look. The daily doesn't support that. The peaks. If it's a flat, we need the RSI to max out here. It hasn't. Let's look at the weekly. Nowhere close. How about the monthly? Well, monthly maybe, but not even the weekly. So to me, the RSI doesn't support a flat. Doesn't support a flat now. Also on the shorter time frame, it's an impulse. So to me, this clout is clear. So this chart is telling me crypto may be more bullish than we are expecting it to be. This chart tells me perhaps crypto will be surprise people with more upside than we may anticipate. And Coinbase, I think, tends to pump more with the altcoin community. So what is that telling me? Maybe the altcoin's got a big pump coming. That's all it's saying. I mean, that's what this chart says to me, but it's first got to bounce. And it hasn't done that. But once this cycle ends, anything can happen. Again, Solana's in a box. Coinbase is about to be in a box. Bitcoin is almost in a box tonight. Those boxes rarely get cut through like butter. Now, it can happen. All 3 of them can fail. I can't say I'm always right. Then we probably would have to go with a flat, which would be a massive collapse. But it just doesn't seem likely on the short-term time frames. Short-term indicators don't seem likely. UEC, another one, had a nice 3-wave move down. This one had a crash correction and actually recovered most of its losses intraday and bid up, panic bought here, and could see one more high. Now, right now we only have 3 up. We don't have 5. So if we don't get this 5, then we could double correct. And if we double correct, we come back down to 749 and 2 is here. If we don't double correct, then the low is already come and gone. And that's how heavy the dip was bought and panic bought, essentially straight up. On Friday, guys, there were some stocks that reversed even more significant than that. I mean, I nibbled on a stock MVTS and it was up, it was like down and it, 6-7%, and it was up like 12% and like green. So there were some stocks, and that's telling me the health of the market is still bullish with that type of so this again, just very bullish, but we need a 5. So we need this to to do. So that's what you're looking for. So I would be looking for something like that. That's a conservative view. Now, of course, it could be a 1-2, 1-2, and it's go time. And this was a massive bear trap. This is why we don't get cute trading in and out of positions, because you can't time the market, right? On our channel, our elite members had buys here and here. What do I tell them? Don't get in, don't get cute, just hold. If you buy them early enough, you don't have to worry about these corrections. They happen and you're bottom at such a low level, you can just go play golf or do something else while this is going on. You could just, you don't have the stress. What happened here is people chased. They came up here and they saw, oh my God, I'm going to be a millionaire. I'm going to be rich. I'm going to the moon. They saw the pattern. They heard me talking about the cup, the inverse head and shoulders. You know, it goes back to 2006. I'm just going to buy it. It's going to $30, and I'm going, you know, to Hawaii. It's going to be great, and then it crashes. I mean, that's what happens because most people, they'll buy it here, and my system prevents you from doing that. We can't buy it here, but that's what happened in this stock. Everyone bought it here, and then the market punished you, and it could still punish you one more time. Right? The late chasers are getting punished. And even down here is a little bit late, right? But this was a calculated, just like dip buy for people that missed this move, just to get you a chance to get in. But this was the real opportunity right there. That was the real opportunity. So now you just got to wait. Let the market decide. If you bought it here, you have nothing to worry about. Just hold. That's it. That's all you got to do. And but if you got cute trying to trade in and out, well, you'll learn your lesson. You don't do that. Because the market, I mean, that's how violent this bounce was. So you probably lost your position and it's gone before you realized you sold it here and it's gone. And you thought it, and that's what happens. The market did that. So we'll see where it goes on Monday. If you can make this 5 and then maybe get a smaller pullback in 2, that's what you want to see. If it just rug pulls one more time, well, then you have a double correction, and you're going to get this too. Palladium. Palladium is also looking pretty good. Palladium, 3 waves, got a reaction. My system usually gets the reaction. The reaction failed. Okay, that's fine. That happens, right? And hopefully you took some profit. If you bought it here, you took some profit on this reaction. You put your stop at the pivot, you stop out, and then what do? You look to buy it again, and here's your level at 1137. I kind of looked at the longer term chart on this again. I'm changing the labeling up a little bit. 1 2 1 2 1 2 3 4 5. I'm going to make that a 3 and a 4, more conservative, so something like that. Again, a higher high. There was a chance this could be an A, B, C, a flat. But when you really look at the count, it doesn't support that. I don't think this is 5 waves here. I think it's 3. So I think if it's going to do the flat, we need at least one more high. Then maybe it could do an A, B, C and crash back down here. But more than likely, the correction's over. I mean, my guess is it's over, and it could do something like this and go. All right, that's Palladium. All right, Devon, let's take a look at that. Now, Devon's a very, it's a very like ugly chart. Honestly, it's very ugly in terms of like where it is right now. You see that middle area? It's nasty. Look at that middle area, right? And then look at the overall labeling I have on it, right? So it's a very nasty chart. Let's just look at some of the higher time frames and see where we're at with it. On the weekly cycle, as you can see, the weekly cycle hasn't ended the correction. Not yet. So you're still in the major correction, but you have ended the first leg. So you have ended the leg. You've ended this leg, right? We have here. This leg's over. So that's why we have it here, and we have why. Because I don't. Now, if this can push high enough up, then the correction is over. But I won't. I never label what I wish it to be. I label what I see, and what I see is this. So I see a mess. Honestly, I see a mess here, and when I look at where we are with it, the subdivisions is 5 down, 3 up, 5 down, 3 up, 3, 3, a huge mess. Okay, so it's very erratic. It's almost like a triangle, and triangles aren't in twos. They're in corrective structures typically. So I personally don't like trading it. Now, if I look at this chart, we haven't broke, we're about to break the daily cycle down. What I'm wondering, again, I'm just wondering out loud, is, you know, should we call X here? No, I don't think so. I don't think so. Sorry, so we're going to just go back. We're going to stay with what we have. Again, I haven't really looked at this too hard until tonight. I don't put much brain cell, because again, charts that are confusing and complicated, I just avoid trading them. Well, there's no point in trading a chart that's confusing and complicated. So I'm just gonna label what we have in front of us, and then we can decide later how to do it. So this is in 5, so that can't be a 2 here. So that would have to be a flat off of this peak. 1, 2, 3, 4. So a flat off of that peak. So again, I'm forcing it. I can make it a 1, 2. And then this looks like 3. So we're probably still in 2. All right, so we're probably in A, B, C. And then this turned into W. This turned into 3. And then you have Y. And then this is an A, B. Well, let's look at that. That may be a 3-way move. Yeah, 3-way move down. 3 up, 3 down, 3 up. Wonder if I should do that. I think I should do that with it. Yeah. Again, very complicated chart. No reason to get, you know, I just don't like trading these complicated charts. But I'm doing my best I can. See, it's probably because this low is below that low, it really negates the triangle. So we have to put the X here. So we'll have to do that. So I'll be looking for something like that. You want to hold that level at 25.64. So I'll be looking for something like that. I wish I could help more, but that's what I would go with for now. I still think the likely path is higher on C, or potentially ended the correction. But I can't call the correction over until it actually ends. So I would say this is the count. And then if this happens and we break this low, well, then you have to put the X here, and then you're in the final push lower, the capitulation move for major 2. So I think this is, again, very, very convoluted chart, complicated chart. It's just a tough chart to analyze, but I think this is the best I can do with it. And I appreciate the wishes, you know, for recovering. EVN, let's take a look at that. Let's see here. So you're about to break the peak. Oh, you kind of did already. Let's go to the monthly. Looks like you have a 1-2-1-2 setup here. Yeah, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 1, 2. Right, a lot of elder wave people would go 3, 4, 5. Strong. And that's why they probably shorted here, and they just got blown, their faces blown up. Unfortunately. And so we're extending in 3 of 3. that probably the first 3 is over, my guess. Or the second, it looks like this one is finishing up here. So something like that. Now, it could be another one too. So it could just keep extending. So, but this is the way I would label it for now. Kind of looking at it myself. Now on this 4, you have a connector here with a lower low. This could be 5 down and get a rally. So it could do this. Get 4. It could just crash and get a WXY. And then you're done. We don't know. So it's not enough data to analyze this part. You need more trading data. But if it's going to crash, it would crash to 556. So you can keep that in the back of your mind. And we would overlap this 1, and that would become a 1-2. That'll be another 1-2, not a 3-4, by the way. If we don't, it could be something else. We almost erased divergence on that little dip. If we erase divergence and it truncates, then it could still be a 4 as long as we don't overlap, and then it could be a triple. So not a good setup to trade. You also have this little gap here, may try to fill, but this is the count. I don't see like a clear trade setup on this yet, but I see something like this playing out. Hive. Yeah, I haven't looked at Hive yet. Let's take a look at Hive. Like I said, cryptos. A lot of cryptos enter in boxes, so it needs to rally here, or could have a bigger issue on our hands. And again, Hive is doing a double correction, so got a little bit of a reaction out of the box, or you could argue that was the reaction, and this was like a connector and an expanded flat connector wave. I think I would argue it that way, and then of course you got the lower low, right? So you got the like a pathetic reaction, and then you made a lower low, and then you came up in a like an expanded flat, and now you've made another 3-way move down. So I mean, my guess is the 2's probably coming to an end soon, if not already. Let's look at this again here. Yeah, let's put the 1. I'm not sure. We need to put the 1 there. I wonder if it's a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Let's look at the big again. Sometimes you have to take a bigger picture. Let's just take a look. So it's still a 1, 2, 1, 2. If we break this line, then we have to label it as a completed impulse. We're correcting the whole move, which would be a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, okay, or something like that. So I think for right now, I think we'll go back to what we had before, a 1, 2 here. I wonder if I should just label it as we're correcting the whole impulse. Let's look at the daily cycle. Yeah, the daily cycle's about to break. See, so I'm just gonna be again. I'm gonna label it conservative. I think doesn't do any good labeling perma bull counts, perma bear counts. I think it's just better to label what you see in front of you, using the data you have, not what you wish it to be, right? I think this is probably the right call, the right way to label it. And then this is the connector, and now it should. Somewhere in this vicinity would be and that would make a lot more sense to me. Right, and then out. And so let's take a look. Worst case scenario. So it depends on where you draw the connector. If you draw it from here to here, right, it already wicked. See, it already wicked through it. Right, 199. You see how it hit it and wicked out. So that means the correction's over. So if I draw the connector from there, the correction's over. You missed the dip was Friday. It's come and gone. You missed it. It's over. And it's doing a 1, 2 right now. It'll do it. Maybe it'll open red, but it won't break the low and then just come out. But I can draw the connector somewhere else because again, this count is suspicious. I can label this a lot of different ways. I could put the connector there. If If I do that, it's going to go a little lower, right? And it's going to take it to 190. So what I like to do is I'll just leave it, and we'll just kind of draw the box. And then really the box goes all the way back down to the 1618, so it's a big box. So that's what you got to play with. So that's the accumulation zone. It's a big zone, which means it's hard to target the entry exactly, and you have to be smart about money management, risk management, and you hopefully could get out of this. Now, we should see one more swing higher at least, and if we do that, then once you get that third swing, then it could go all the way back to new lows, or if it makes a 4 and 5, the bull market continues. But since we have 5 off the low, clearly 5 off the low, then I would expect another swing higher in the future. Okay. Yeah, it's so weird about the CEO crash. I know, right? It's so weird. But who knows? You know. AMC and Dogecoin. AMC is pretty much in this crash correction, right? Once it breaks this low, it can end at any moment. I expect it to be supported for another wave higher. Is there a guarantee that can happen? There's never a guarantee, right? And in fact, this Y can even break this low and run those stops like I have here. So it's in an erratic pattern, but this is the pattern I have. So you're just going to have to ride this out. Dogecoin, I hadn't looked at it in a while. That was one I was another chart that just hard to interpret and not clear. So just kind of avoiding it altogether. Let's see if I can find where I have it. As you can see, we got a little bit of a pathetic reaction and it double corrected. So we saw a lot of, basically what we saw in crypto is a lot of double corrections in crypto. and this turned into 5, right? So it turned into an ABC correction, right? So we can easily project the box on this correction. And that's 8.1815. So it's not quite there, but it seems like it's getting close. And we're still looking for this eventual setup to play out. Again, I think this is super ugly, though, the way it bottomed. Super erratic, super unorthodox. Now, could C be done here? Let's look at the RSI. Daily. Yikes. You see how that took out all the divergences and peaks? That's typically how a corrective move ends. Let's look at the weekly. Same thing. So there is risk. And the way we bottomed, I'm just saying, I'm not gonna lie here. The way the erratic bottoming of this, there is a risk that C is in. And there is no bounce. And you're gonna get a fresh leg lower that's gonna resemble a WXY. So you'll get a W here, a bounce here. Right, you'll get something like this, and then you'll get new lows, a capitulation low. So again, I think it's 50-50 what you're going to get here, and then this will complete the correction and fix this technical irregularity that we see in the bottoming process that I have here. So I think this is very possible. So I think you'll have to decide in your mind how you want to trade it. The first sign of it failing like this is dangerous to me. I think if it can't bounce here, that's even more dangerous. If we just don't get a bounce and we break 16, then I almost think it's guaranteed to double correct. The good news is it will finally capitulate and get a bottom. The bad news is it's going lower. And looking at the bigger picture, that looks like 5 up. 1, 2, 3. Yeah, we'd have to hold 7 cents. Let's see where it would. It could test 9.7, 10 cents. So it will try to retest this low, and then breaking that low would mean that this entire thing is corrective, and then it's essentially game over. So I'm telling you, man, I think it's weird. The chart's really weird here. I don't like none of the other crypto that I watch. had done something quite like this. Matic did something similar, and it ended up making new lows. So you just need to understand that this is very unorthodox, and it shows the bears really have more control of this than the bulls do right now. That's what it tells me, and they may be taking control again. And that's why I prefer to trade charts that are clearer. When I go through all these cryptos, again, these little 4 letters mean nothing to me. I'll just click on every single one, and once I find a clear chart, we'll buy it, right? Like they're meaning, like I could care less. I have no like love for any of these. I just care what the chart looks like. If the chart looks good, I'll say. But this chart, because of the way we bottomed, is not attractive to me in my system. But I still think you're going to get a reaction here, and that's going to decide its fate. Whether C can push, or you'll capitulate and make a final low. But you should get a reaction. Let's take a look at WINT. All right, let's see what we got. So that's a pretty big push higher. We kind of lost our chart. I'm not sure. Again, trading views up to. My guess, that's probably that. Okay. My guess is that's the 4, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, and now 5. It could always erase divergence. It looks like it's doing that already. So we know what that means when that happens. It turns into another move. Now this has a lot. Look at all that. So I think I think we are still seeing a 5. We're still seeing a 5. We're still seeing a 5. Now on the shorter time frame, let's see what we're seeing. A 3. So we're in 3 of 5. So we need more downside to happen before this ends. Right? And it's just extending. Right? It's just gonna, but once we break that low, and then you see bullish divergence on the shorter time frame, it can end at any moment, any second. So timing it will be impossible. It'll be impossible. But that's what the conditions you need to look for. But once this low breaks with bullish divergence on the shorter time frames, that's it. And again, looking at the count, it's over. There's 5 waves. It's over. It should have a big pump. All right. Amazon had a bigger extended 5th wave that we saw here play out for this 4. And as we always tell you, we usually lose the 5th. That's what's happening. We're probably getting the first bounce in some kind of 3-wave move. So we could make 5. So again, the market will either make a WXY or ABC correction. If it's a WXY, it will bottom here, bounce Monday, and fail again. Or it just already crash corrected the lows in. The other is we make another low on Monday and make an 5, make an A, then we bounce and we go down again, and see like that. So not enough data to know how the correction is going to evolve. We'll know Monday more where we think, but we are in this. We're correcting this as a big extended 5th wave. Okay, that's what's happening. We should come out of it because we have 5 up. We should make another swing higher and break these highs, and everyone should be happy. But right now it's just in a correction. Just look at it as another opportunity to buy it in 3 waves here. But I think somewhere around here it's gonna rally, either as a WXY or make another low and an ABC. If it makes another low, it will likely have a bounce and another failure. If it's a WXY, the 2 can be done on Friday and the dip's over. The dip came and went, and there's no more dip. So we don't know. We just have to let this play out more. So just let it play out more. All right. I'm not sure if I blocked you on X. Maybe it was accident. I'll try to go back. I'll make a note of your name. I have no idea if I did or didn't. Obviously, I must have done that. Who knows why? Okay, ALGO, ALGO USD, ALGO USD. Let's take a look. What is going on with this one? I don't know here. It's like hit our ceiling of resistance and got rejected. So look, we got this one right. It got a short right on this. It's just been we're showing new lows. Again, irregular bottom, just like Dogecoin. Seemed like we nailed that, so I feel like we should just continue with the sequence that we expect here to finish out. Let me see where we are on the corrective cycle on this thing. WXY, ABC, so we're moving in threes. So yeah, so I would assume that we are doing this. Now, I'll show you a couple alternative views. That's the wrong, I don't know why I have it as ABC. It should not be ABC there. I must have just mislabeled it. That's the right way to label it. All right, so that's the right labeling. So now you'll finish that sequence and correct. Now you take this peak out and negates it, right? Then you're gonna do the same thing. You're gonna extend X again, right? It's gonna come back and take out that peak. So I think this is the most important low. Once this low is breached, I think that confirms the next leg lower has started. You're in the middle area. You either got to take this high out or you're gonna have to take this low out, and the market hasn't decided. So So again, I'm showing you what I thought originally. I'm not sure. There's no reason why I would want to change my mind. But if you were to take this high out, I think then you could potentially extend an X and then a bigger three-wave move higher. If you break this low, well, I think you got new lows coming, and the area you could see bottom would be, unfortunately, we don't have a good way to target it because it's just so beat down. So really would have to just follow the sequence and see where this ends and why as it plays out. UVIX. Yeah, UVIX is one that I always like to buy the pullback after the end of the cycle. I'm not ready to call the UVIX cycle ended yet. It was close. It was a real nail biter on Friday, but the UVIX bulls were not able to break out of our channel. And again, maybe my channel's not drawn perfectly, but you know, try to get the idea. I try to get through a majority of the wicks. So we kind of jammed up and we closed into it. So I want to see us come out. And then you can say the cycle's over, right? And when the cycle's over, usually you get a three-wave move out, which means you're going to the market will have a bigger pullback. What this is telling me is the market's actually going to make another high or surprise people, right? And this is another one too. And the correction already ended before it started. So the UVIX is huge. The UVIX is a warning sign for the bears that they may have overplayed their hand on Friday, because we need that UVIX breakout. It has not happened yet. Monday could change it. Believe me, Monday it could totally change. If we can have another big day like that on Monday on the UVIX, then it's over. And then of course it's going to break out. And then on the first pullback, we're going to look to buy the UVIX. We always do that on our channel. It's been very lucrative. We've never had success doing it. But for right now, this is what I've got. So the UVIX to me, we'll know Monday. Do we get follow through panic selling from basically the retail community because they go home on the weekend, they're scared, they see their stocks sold off and they just dump everything in panic? Sure. Or do they come in and buy and see everything's on sale and they buy it up, and then you get this? And it was the massive bear trap and people totally were fooled. And we've seen this so many times in bull markets. So we don't know. So the UVIX to me needs more data to confirm the cycle's over or not. But once it ends, we should definitely see more upside, right? You more than likely, again, I'm just looking at the chart. we should backtest 27 at least. Now, we might get rejected at 27, but we should backtest this. And if we can break above it, well, then this would be a false breakdown, and then that would be UVIX bulls like dreams come true. I mean, and I think it would like spike up tremendously. So watch Monday. Let's watch Monday. See what happens. See what happens with volatility Monday, and with the UVIX, and see if they can crush volatility, buy the dip. It may do this. If they can't, and we kind of close above it, and then we start to pull back, we might want to buy that pullback on the UVIX to hedge long positions, or just play the short side that way. We'll have to wait and see. Not enough data yet. MLGO, let's take a look at that one. Yep, continuing to extend, and that's the problem with Elliott wave theory. It can't predict extensions. It can just keep extending. It avoids divergence. So that's the unfortunate thing about the theory, is it doesn't predict that. That's why it's never good to just buy 5 waves or short 5 waves. You have to wait for the confirmation of the cycle ending, aka we just talked about that in the UVIX, right? So now I would label it this way. We need a Y. What is going on here? So we need 3 waves down. Let's see if, so we would label that as, so again, we have to just change the labeling up a little bit. Yeah, so it morphed into that, and once this leg ends, that Y, now let's see if that Y can be done. Let's look at the 4-hour. Yeah, so that could be it. So I think, again, looking at micro algo, you're in this final leg of Y, extended, totally kind of changed the whole nature of the correction. And then you have an A, B, and then a C that's kind of ending, almost looks like 5 waves. So you need to be careful that it doesn't do something like this on the shorter time frame and make another low. But it's so oversold, I don't know how it can go any lower. But because it made that lower low right there on the shorter time frame with bullish divergence, you have to say this is in 5, and Y can't be in 5. And that's the clear connector. So I have to label, again, I have to label it with the data we have. It's got to do something like this, unfortunately. I just, that's what I would label. But again, definitely not a chart I would ever trade. But I think, but at some point it will, I think it will bottom. At some point people will give up on it, and then that will be the bottom. So just say, you know, just keep adding, I guess, if you want to. It's just gonna, again, the sellers are in control. And apparently when this Y comes, it's going to go even lower than these. It's going to drop it even further down, oversold, further down. So something like that. Okay, XRP, let's take a look at what, again, a lot of crypto double corrected. Crypto double corrected, guys. So XRP made 5 waves up. We had 3 down. You had a little bit of a reaction. And then, of course, it failed, right? You would have stopped out. Maybe you would have took profit on the reaction. Maybe you didn't. You would have, you know, maybe you lost a little and lost nothing. Depends on how you manage the trade. And now we look to buy it again at like 263, somewhere around there. Now, it's looked like it's trying to bottom with these candles right there, but it's way too early to say that. Nah, yeah, I would say the box, though, is somewhere in here. Here's your wave 4 cluster. So it may truncate. Again, are you looking for the perfect entry? I don't know. Now, we didn't really erase a lot of divergence here between those 2 peaks. We'd like to see a little more capitulation. But wonder if we could look at the XRP BTC pair and just see if that provides us another way to time it. And something like this, and I haven't done this before, but maybe it's a technique we can try. See, we have a lower low here. I mean, this is meaningless, obviously, but it will tell you if, you know, when Ripple will outperform Bitcoin. So you can see it's got a lot more downside. So maybe, yeah, maybe it's got, you know, it's got more downside coming, or Bitcoin will outperform and eventually Ripple will turn. So I don't know. I think this is the general vicinity. That's your wave 4 area, right? Here, again, could that C be done? Could that Y be done and truncate it? Which again, we always look at all the other case just in case. We're not permabulls. You see how that peak is below this peak? If the corrective move would have ended, we would be above it. So likely it's not done. It's likely not done. So that looks like a higher high sequence. What this did is, again, this is what happened. People saw it up here and go, oh my gosh, I'm going to buy it. I'm going to be rich. I'm going to be a Ripple billionaire, trillionaire. I'm buying it. And then they rug pull. And when you should have been buying it here, right, where we had it, and here. And hell, even at 3 cents back in the good old days when I first started being interested in Ripple. So like the people, this is what's happening here is people chased the emotions of the general public, got into crypto, they were dreaming of riches, and they bought at the worst possible time, and the market is punishing them, and they're all getting blown up now. That's what's happening. That's why it's so important to never chase and never get caught up in the emotions. Or people, like I mentioned, let's say you did buy it here and it's here. It's like, oh man, I'm going to be rich. I'm just going to buy even more. And then the market does this to you. No, you can't do that. You bought here. So again, that's what's happening, guys, in crypto. People got too giddy, but they all bought at the top. And they're just going to get blown up until they all capitulate, unfortunately. And that's the nature of the market. So this is kind of the box now. I would be looking somewhere around here. All right, good luck on that. CENX. Looks like it's continuing to push higher. Something like that, right? I mean, I'm just labeling the waves, right? I mean, it's not rocket science. Now, if we break this line, it looks like we almost are on our daily, right? We're right up on it, really. We're starting to break it, right? What that means is it could be a completed impulse, something like this. Like a 1, 2, sorry again, 1, 2, 3, yeah, 1's here. Like a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, but I think that would be, you know, which one's the shortest, I don't know, but if it's that, it has a chance to fall back down to 1670. I don't, look at the divergences here. You see how, well, we do look at the peak on the short term. It is up here. So I think you know, if you want to be really conservative, I think you could you know to give yourself, like, you know from a mental health standpoint, you could technically label it this way and expect a deeper pullback, but you should come out of it. This is just getting started if this is it. And I look at it, and that's probably the right way to label it, looking at it right now, right? Something like that. It all makes sense to me. And seeing how it pulled back on the daily, I think that's the right look for this. Okay. GDX buybacks are coming August 13th. Interesting. GDX, OIH. GDX is should be helped by the weak dollar situation and gold. So again, we're in the 5 as of now. Of course, it could extend. That's typically a 3 of some kind. That's a cycle. So it could be a start of an end in diagonal and in like an A B, C. And I think that's what we'll have to label it as. So it could be something like this. So I'll go with that for now in a 3-3-3 sequence. Now, if we come back and break this level, right, we have a buy opportunity, right, off of that peak. So I will make that, draw that box. Oh, wait a minute. Yeah, so we're at the peak here. So only in 3. So it would be a flat. So we'd be a flat off of this peak. Yeah, you know, I have it labeled this way because these overlap. I don't want to label, but I mean, you could force the label 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You see that? There's, or 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 like that. That's what I meant. Yeah, see, now it doesn't support that. So I think we'll go with this on the higher time frame. You see, this is like a wave 5 type thing. Okay. Typically, you see that? A big move is coming. You see that? Watch that, right? Big move is going to come. We break out of that, it's likely to risk divergence and explode out. But if we break down, then the 5 is going to peak, and we have this bigger pullback. So I wouldn't really worry too much about the exact count. Just know that this whole cycle could be coming to an end soon from September 22. And when it does, it could generate a big pullback, right? That's I would be my primary forecast. And that's what this RSI is telling you on the daily, okay? Probably even on the weekly. So, however, if you can break higher out, that would negate that view and it would surge. And then this would become another 1, 2, and it'll just be off. That's why you can't pick the top, right? Or do you know the future? No one knows. Yes, there's a lot of bearish divergence. This is the probable path. But I can't say if we're going to erase divergence or not. So I'd rather just buy in 3 waves and hold. And, you know, hopefully you're able to buy them at these lower levels when we were covering it. If you happen to buy up here, well, you're taking a lot of risk because this is possible. And if it happens, right, we normally lose the 5th wave. So it could drop all the way back down to 32.50. So just know that, but guess what happens in the future? Wave 3, right? So this would be a catastrophe, a tragedy for people who chased up the top, This would be a calamity, only to see in 2027 and 28 this over $100 and people crying that they panic sold at 32. So we don't know where are we going to go to 100 in the next 12 months, or do we need to correct and it's going to take market time? I wish I knew. We don't know, but I'd rather just buy the dip in 3 waves and hold this for the longer term, because the longer term chart is very good, right? It's coming out of a major corrective move that really has started since 2011, right? Massive upside. Years of gains ahead of it. Years and years of gains coming. So this is something you're accumulating as a long-term investor. But as a short-term day trader, I don't see opportunity other than you could get a rug pull. Maybe I don't even see a short. I wouldn't short this because it could easily break out. So you don't. But as a long-term investor, you actually want big pullbacks like this, as it allows you to get back in on the trend before it does break out. Because it's going to break out, guys. This is going to break out. This is going to break out. It's going to break out. How it does it, we don't know. We don't know for sure, but I'm just showing you what I have labeled here for now. I think for now we're labeling 5 is an end in diagonal, and we'll just leave it at that. As long as you're above 50.15, it can still grind higher. Okay, I think the risk is when you break that level, then it could start a selling cascade in 2, and we have to relabel our chart. OIH, let's see how that's been doing. I haven't looked at that in a while. erratic, and a 2. Almost looks like Devon. Almost looks like Devon. Right, something like that. Remember, we usually lose the 5th. Could even come back down to 207. I doubt it's going to go that low. But I think that's the count, right? Let's look at the... No, the RSIs are interesting. Higher low. Now, that one did break. So, yeah, I'll go with the flat. Look, I'll go with something like that. But look, you have the higher highs. You see the higher highs here? It's likely to swing up another time. Likely. Not, again, nothing's guaranteed, but it's likely to do that. So, all right. All right, Dylan, appreciate that. BCH. Yeah, BCH has been a battle. I wonder, it's almost like, why is that one, it is mass, there are bears that do not want that to break out. They do not want that coin to be well. I mean, it's just totally, but the bulls are slowly winning. A lot of dip buy opportunities here, and now we have another one. So again, this is a very conservative chart, right? Now I could label this as a 1-2-1-2 very easily. Let's look at a dip buy opportunity here. Maybe another one. Can we be like 5 for 5 on these? I don't know. It's in the box right now, like Solana is. So it's in a box. Buy it. I guess if you want to buy it, you buy it now. See what happens. Every time we've had it in a box, it's really reacted nicely. That one almost broke. That one almost broke. So it can go deep in the box. We'll see. Now, if we get this 5, well, then we'll get a much bigger pullback. We want to take this out, but I wouldn't be surprised if it's a 1-2-1-2. Let's look at the RSI real quick. Yeah, it could still be a 1-2-1-2. So I don't know. I'll label it conservative, not permeable. So you can decide how you want to play it. RZLV. RZLV. Oh, that's an interesting one I've not heard of. An AI stock, not unknown to me. Some kind of SPAC maybe. 5 down. Looks like a flat to me, right? Right, it did something like that. Then it came down and up and down and up and down, right? Right, so we want to label it bullish off that low. So what do we have? Did it finally get its you know what together as a company and get going? A lot of divergence. This supports a 1-2-1-2-1-2 setup. Now again, that's the permeable count, like 1-2-1-2-1-2. Let's look at the 45-minute. Yeah, I mean, I could go either way on that. I think I could go 1-2-1-2-1-2. I could also, again, be conservative and do like a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then it has a little bit deeper pullback and comes out. That'd be a connector. I'll look at it one more time at the shorter time frame. And that'd dip it to 215, fill this gap here, and then off it goes. So that's the like safe way to play this. The aggressive way is this 1-2-1-2 and won't dip. But I believe let's go to the shorter time frames. Actually, we have to look within this wave. You see how it peaked here on the peak like that? Yeah, I could even yeah, so I think again the market's not like completely, perfect. See we have a peak here. I hate when it's like right up and tied like that. So is this really 3 waves? So let's just say it's 3 waves. And let's see how that would affect. We wouldn't label this in 3 unless it's a leading diagonal, a 3-3-3 leading diagonal. Yeah, maybe we could talk ourselves into that. So if it's a 333 lead and diagonal, then I would probably go more aligned with this count. So good luck. I think we'll go with this. A corrective move would end with the divergence erasing at the end typically, and it's doing the opposite. So it's more than likely going to continue to extend until that takes place. All right. But I can be wrong. Do what's best for you. Thanks, everyone. Yeah, I'm recovering well. Appreciating it. Yeah, you know, guys, the drug companies, guess what? XLV is looking good. I saw the XLV, guys, and I was like, huh. Look at that count. That happened on Friday. So, yeah, healthcare, guys, is in play. And again, elite members, we're going to really dissect what that means. I mean, now, we could take this low out. Now, if we do, it then means it's the opposite. Healthcare is having a massive breakdown, right? Because that would be 3 and a connector. And we would call the grand super cycle done in healthcare. So, a very important moment, technically, for healthcare. But it looks like 5 to me up. I mean, it doesn't look like a corrective move here. So, I mean, could it be some kind of running flat connector? I guess it could be. Again, this looks very corrective. So, you mentioned drug companies. I want to point that out. ETOR. Let's look at ETOR real quick. All right. 3, 3, and 3. So, unfortunately, we don't have a lot of data. So, we'll just label it in 3-wave moves until more data emerges. See how we didn't take that low out? We could still be an X. So I'll be careful trading it. It's in the middle area. It can easily make another 3 waves lower from here. Because you really want to see the RSIs on this X take out all of that. So I think you got to label it this way. And then Y would come later. It's not, you know, because there's not a lot of data, it's hard to, you know, it's hard to get a good chart. Again, I'm just trying to show you a couple ideas. Something like that. That's what I think will happen. All right. I think the DWEC, the reason I think DXY is going to go down is, let me go back to DXY. The DXY, guys, the DXY is at a critical moment. I think my last update was we don't have a definitive move yet, right? Because if I call it C done, right? If that C is done, then there's a dollar strength coming that's going to wipe out gold, commodities, crypto, bear market. You're talking recession. Like, you're talking a massive, like happened in 22, guys. But actually, oil went up. Go figure. But I think that was the war with Ukraine. But so you can't. That's why I say you can't correlate these two. You can't put too much significance in the correlation. But it would make it a headwind for sure. The problem I have is we're impulsive down and we're corrective up. So the trend to me is still lower. I'm not seeing an impulsive sequence. This is a very corrective action. Now, we're in the middle area. We have not. It has not moved. Like if we break below B, then this chart is right here, and it is gonna go down, and we'll extend lower. And that wouldn't surprise me. That would allow gold and silver and everything else to top out, and crypto and everything else. So the market has to prove more to me to be like called low in. I think it had a chance, but that rejection is like, yeah, I'm not sure now, and that's a pretty significant rejection. And this is a very corrective bounce for a very impulsive move down. This shows the trend is still lower, right? It's 1 now. Could it be a 1-2, 1-2? It could be, but we need more data. So unfortunately, it's hard to say. We don't have enough data here to make that decision. So that's why I'm not recommending shorting the dollar or I'm just drawing the boxes just for main points, but I still I suspect it's going to go lower. It's just what I suspect here. It's what I think. If we start seeing more downside in gold and silver, maybe I'll change my mind, and I think that would mean the dollar would be rising. Okay, that's all I think on the dollar, guys. SRPT and Novo. Guys kept you out of Novo, right? Everyone's happy about that. Oh, Sarepta. Yeah, Sarepta. What the heck happened here? I don't even know. Someone charted that. I don't know why I even have a chart of this. Good Lord. Well, it looks like I charted it for somebody at some point. Looks like it finished. Blew through the box on 5 and ended the correction. Look at that. But this thing came from like, I mean, I don't even know. Like, it's not even related. I don't know what that is. Let's just get rid of it. So this stock almost looks like a go to zero to me. A go to zero play. I mean, look at this. It could be a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, that's so again, I'll label it this way. What the hell? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So you have a big old connector here and a grand supercycle correction, which I always say can go to zero. The grand supercycle corrections can go to zero. And the box is huge in the box. Looks like, to go to the monthly, 5 ABC. It's a classic ABC correction. And now you have to just see where the 4 and 5 is on this thing. So we need to find a 4. Maybe we're making, maybe you could force it here. Put the 4 there. And maybe it's, so maybe 5 is done, or you're still in 5. Yeah, it would, you're probably still in 4. So tough to say where we are. I mean, I think you probably could be in 4 and something like this. Get something like that. Tough, but I mean, essentially it's a go to zero. Like, essentially it's either you buy it here or it goes bankrupt. But I don't. So it's either going to whipsaw back up and crash down again, or in with bullish divergence, or the 4 is done and we'll just continue to grind a little lower, create more bullish divergence on the shorter time frames and bottom. And maybe you bottom, maybe you go to 0. All right, and then Novo. Novo was one I mentioned that was going to take this turn for the worse, and we were targeting $42. I wonder if we've got there yet. We're close. Now, again, do I see a 4? I don't see a 4. Maybe you could call that a 4. So I'm still waiting for a 4. No 4. So look for a bounce at any moment. One more low. And then, again, there's no box. There's no way to time it. You're just kind of counting the sequence. But it's probably close. You have this cluster of support, right? It's in. Maybe it will keep wick through it a little bit on a higher time frame, wick through, lower time frame, meander around. But this is the general area around this area. So anywhere from 47 to 43. If I was just going to draw a box, I would draw it from here to maybe like there. And if it fails through that, there's no chart support until 25. So I don't know. I don't think it's going to do that. But we pretty much navigated that correction pretty well on our channel. But we need a 4. I don't see a 4 yet. Okay, LAES. see what's happening here. So we made the 5 here. 4 got the reaction, and then it corrected. Let's see if it's an overlap in 3 and 4 or not, or another 1, 2. Looking at it, just kind of looking at the cycle. You see how we're correcting. Cool cycle. We got to be careful. So as you know, right there would be 3. Okay, we always know we get 3 waves up, but there's never a guarantee of 5. Ever a guarantee of 5. Even if I draw it, because one, I can't. The trading view puts a 5. I can't just draw it. So it's either. So there is a 5. A 5 is never guaranteed. It's looking more and more like this was a corrective bounce that played out. It was a corrective bounce, right? That's what it looks like to me. A 3-wave corrective move that's over. And that's always the risk buying some of these, but because now it's too extreme. So I think you have to label it that way. And that means it would double correct, right? It's going to double correct. And it's going to do something like and break this low and capitulate before it goes higher. That's a likely path, and if it's going to happen, it'll happen pretty soon, I think. But you look at the distance; it's reset a lot of RSI. It hasn't made it down. Let's look at the daily, but see how we're already. It's likely to head lower. So I think we got to go with this view for now. I was not able to make a 5th wave, and now it's in a corrective move lower, something like that. And then it will come out. Because we have 5 up here, it should come out. But again, even here, right, this could still be a big connector like that, right? So again, it's not something I would particularly trade, but it's possible you have something like this and then it can come out, but you're trading in the middle area of massive corrective sequence. It's probably the hardest type of charts to trade, and most challenging, and the most it's very risky. But I think this is what we'll see, and then this is going to define whether or not you get another leg higher or not. Because if either you'll break this low, stay above this low, erase divergence, and then you'll come up higher, or it will just take it out completely and you'll just nosedive. And then you'll have another one of these later like that. So unfortunately, that's how I see it. What could negate this view would be to come back and take out the peak at 469. All right, that's LES. Yeah, Trade Desk. We saw Trade Desk. I'll look at it. Trade Desk to me, one, it's very volatile on earnings. It made a higher high, okay, but that's meaningless, right? We just talked about, a corrective move can be 3 waves. Once it makes 3 waves, there's no guarantee of a 5, so it can go all the way back down to new lows. So don't let that fool you to think that it's all clear and you're going to get rich, okay? Just understand that with because we broke the high here, we knew there's more upside, right? The sequence has still got more upside, more than likely, right? It's got to get to here. So it's likely to continue to extend. So yes, I think Trade Desk does push higher as 3 plays out, or some other count plays out here. But once we're in this area, we need to look at it. Do we have 5 up, or do we have a big 3 up? And if it's a big 3 up, well, then it can just make another big 3 down. And it could just, however, off this peak, we have it as a flat. So, that would be a WXY. I basically make Trade Desk go back full round trip, the whole bubble, all the way back down to the historic trend line, 17. I mean, that would be like a collapse of this company. So we don't know, but I think there's more upside to be played in this as a short-term trader. If you see a good setup, I don't see one particularly. Maybe on that little 3 wave here, that little dip right there, but it looks like it already got bought here. So and again, that could be 5. That could be the 5 here on the first leg, right? It still needs to get to this level, so maybe it'll do something like this and come out. And then does it make a 4 and a 5, or does it peak and collapse? We don't know. So it could do a couple things. So it may be that. I think that's something to think about. Yeah. So I'll go with that, something like that for now. All right, that's a freebie. Ripster, you played the Carvana. I was wondering, the guy that asked me about Carvana, if he played that long. I knew that was going to blow up, man. I knew that was going to surprise the market. See, no one was expecting that, and that's the thing, That's why the market is tricky. The market's tricky, guys. The market is unpredictable. It makes no sense why Carvana is pumping, but I think in some fundamental way it does, because the Gen Z and even the younger millennials I run into, they love Carvana. That is how they want to buy cars now. They don't care it's 10% interest rate through them. They don't care. They don't get to see the car, right? They get to try it out, but you don't really get to see it. You have to pay. Like, there's all these hurdles, but they just want to do it on the app. And so Carvana's got that market, man. It's so convenient to sell your car too, to trade it in and get it. So I think car dealers in general have to figure out a better way of selling car, because Carvana has got the younger generation, and I think they're just going to pay it, and so they're serving a market. To me, maybe I'm too old. I don't understand why anyone would buy a car through an app like that and not actually I don't want to pay to have a car shipped to me to see it. I'm not going to do that. I need to see it first, especially a used car. But and I'm not trusting, I'm going to buy it and I could return it in 3. Do I really want to go through the hassle of that? No. But I guess other people will, and they have been. So that company doesn't make sense to me fundamentally. But apparently there is a lot of people that love it, and they're going to buy it. And if it's a younger thing, that means it's going to be here for a long time, for years to come. So it's crazy, because we called the low of Carvana on my channel at the $3 level. The video is probably in the archive somewhere, where we pulled out and said, I think it bottomed here. It's crazy to think about that back in the day, but God knows I would have sold it by now if I bought it. I didn't buy it. I think we even had a dip buy at 42 at one point on our channel. Clear setup there, but yeah, you just never know. Winston, thanks for the big super chat, and I really appreciate, well wishes. Yeah, I had to get surgery, emergency surgery. Life happens. You just never know. I was traveling when it happened too, which made it even harder. So let me see what I can do for you. 2 Kong stocks. All right, I'll see if I can find these. They're always kind of tricky. Let's see if I can find them. Yeah, that one's easy to find. 165. All right, let's use it. Let's go through those. All right, anytime I see something like this, I think flat right away. And let's just see the divergence. Look at that massive extended 5th wave. And that's why the correction was so brutal. Usually when you see big extended 5th waves, that's usually a sign the correction's going to be really nasty. And that's what you see in crypto a lot, right? You see these big 5th waves blow off tops. That's why the crypto corrections are so terrible. So you had this massive flat. Looks like it's ended. So there, that low. Now you only made 3 up, but I would continue to just call it bullish off of that low. You have 3 down. That looks like 5 up. Look at that bullish divergence there. Yeah, I think we will call that a 1-2-1-2. Same look that Qubits had before it exploded higher. Same. This was, and I'll explain that in a minute. You see how, because normally in a 3, the RSI would be up here. You have the opposite, which means we're not in 3 yet, but we have a higher price. So that usually means to me a more explosive move is coming soon. That will surprise people. Now, we are correcting. I'll give you a setup. It may not happen. That would drop it back down to $6. So there could be a drop in this, but I would consider that a gift, honestly, if that happens. So that's the possibility right there. Now, if this doesn't happen, then the 2's already in here, and it's pretty much gonna bottom here and go. So that's a kind of a gift, because I think usually you can't end a corrective sequence with bullish divergence like that. So it's more than likely going to make a move higher. Okay. So on the next one, 9660, very bullish. Now here we, again, we don't have a lot of data to go with. Yeah, I think we have to call it corrective. We're going to have to call it's moving in 3s. It's moving in 3s. And perhaps that X is in here because it took out the divergences, and now we're in some other move. Maybe this. Because you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. A, some kind of B, and C. So something like that. Very little divergence there, but it could be a tight 4 and 5 here. So this could be a full impulse. I think that's how I would want to label it, but maybe let's take a look here. 1, 2. Yeah, I'd probably do this, right? And then this will need more upside. So how this evolves is really unknown. There's a lot of possibilities. I'm just labeling it like one way. Right? It comes higher in Y to finish up like that. The other possibility is it's still in B with another leg lower because you only have 3 up. And the other possibility is C ends early, and you get something like this, and out like that later. So too many ways to label it, but I think the most important thing is really as long as you're above 458, I would consider more upside. I think this peak will be taken out in a short squeeze type surge, almost like you saw here, but it's going to need time to work itself out. This B can also be a triangle playing out here, so it's got way too many counts. I think we just go with the obvious count. Something like that. For now. We'll just play it by ear, but it's got to take this peak out. So the sequence could just keep going until that peak is out. All right, I made it to the end of the super chats, and as good as I'm getting tired, so I think I'm going to go back to bed now. Thanks again, guys, for everything. I'll get that last video out for my elite members tomorrow, and appreciated all the super chats and well wishes, and let's see what the market brings. Again, as you can see, the market has hit in a lot of boxes, so you would think the market should rally soon of some kind. And, you know, all the VIX gurus are like, well, if the VIX was up more than 20%, it means in the next 2 days there'll be a huge rally. Like, I don't know, like, but those are the things we just know the market will bounce. It's the question is, do we get that big double correction? And you need big cap tech to double correct, and I don't see an obvious catalyst that could do that unless AMD's earnings is really bad, like so bad that it scares the crap out of everyone in the stock market. Like outside of that, I don't know what catalyst is going to get people to sell all their Microsoft, Meta, Nvidia and panic sell. I just can't see it. So if you can't see that, then how can the Nasdaq and SPY get back down to these much lower levels that some people think it can get to? I just can't. I just don't see it. You need to have that kind of panic from the retail community, right? Those who bought it, right? They bought the div, so they're not panicking. So maybe there's an unknown. Maybe China will invade Taiwan. I mean, God knows. And then that would do it. I mean, but all I can say is something's got to create the AI panic sell-off. We just haven't seen it. Once that happens, then I think the market could be susceptible to a much deeper correction, or which would be a double correction, and then that would be what the bears are looking for. But I don't think the market could have a deeper correction without the AI complex participating in it. I just can't see it happening. I don't think there's big enough stocks that can go down. Like there's only so many UNHs in the world, right? That can. I mean, there's just not enough out there that could do that mathematically and drop the indices. But maybe there is, but I don't think there is. So I think without those big semiconductor AI stock doing the massive dump and rug pull, I just don't see how you're going to go have a really massive correction. It's going to be hard to see it, but maybe the news will emerge. And like I said, I think AMC news would be the news perhaps the bears could use to leverage to create that. So be alert for that event, that market moving event.